My name is Zeke. In the 6th grade this year, we use recyclable materials to build models of sustainable buildings to represent our design. My group made a museum. The museum has many different ways of dealing with the increase of the population and the decrease of natural resources. For starts, the building has some sustainable ways of powering itself. There are wind turbines on the roof of the museum. Wind turbines are kind of like giant fans that catch the wind and convert it into energy. This is sustainable because you can't use up the wind. You can't use up the sun either. There are solar panels on the roof too. Solar panels catch the sun's rays and convert that into energy. And in addition, the front of the museum is completely made out of glass, so we don't have to spend so much energy lighting the building ourselves. So instead, we can get natural light from outside. All of these don't pollute the atmosphere with greenhouse gases like CO2 that heat up the atmosphere a lot like fossil fuels do. Greenhouse gases are one of the main causes of global warming. Because of this, the average temperature has risen by 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit or 0.8 degrees Celsius since 1880. Also on the roof, there's a greenhouse with a rainwater catchment system. When rain falls on a greenhouse roof, it slides down it into these little gutters and into a pipe that leads to a big tank that collects all the water so that it can be used for toilets and to water the plants. It's healthier for plants because it doesn't have all the chemicals and minerals that are bad for plants like city water does, like chlorine, calcium, and magnesium. In the greenhouse, we grow food for the museum cafe. And when people don't really like the food or are too full and they throw it out, we use it for the composting. Composting is a process when organic waste is broken down by tiny little organisms and then turned into a fertilizer for plants. Since 30% of waste in America is actually organic waste, it will be wiser to do more composting rather than sending it all to a landfill. Although we won't really be using it because our food's really good. The glass in the front of the museum can make it a cold place during the winter, but the sun can always come in to warm it up, and wind turbines can be dangerous to birds. But we can always put screens around the wind turbine so that the birds will see it and fly around it. So the pros definitely outweigh the cons. Has sustainable forms of energy like wind turbines and solar panels, a rainwater catchment system, which is healthier for plants that we can then eat, and all of these don't use up our natural resources. If all buildings were like this, we wouldn't have to worry about using up all of the things we need. It would almost be a perfect world. Thank you.
My name is Cookie, and I'm a 6th grader here at MSC. Our module this year is to come up with a design for a sustainable building that addresses the environmental issues of a growing population. We were split up into groups, and each group was assigned a building. My building was a stadium. The stadium that my group built had many sustainable features that also address the environmental issues of a growing population. One of the issues of a growing population is global warming. Global warming is when carbon dioxide creates a blanket over the earth, so when sun shines down on the earth, heat gets trapped in it. The problem with this is it causes hurricanes, floods, tsunamis, droughts, and other natural disasters, such as the tornado in Oklahoma and Hurricane Sandy here in New York. It's also causing sea levels to rise because of melting ice, which makes land disappear underwater. One of the ways we came up with to address global warming and be sustainable was to put solar panels around the outside of our building. We had studied solar energy earlier in the year, and that's what gave us the idea to use solar panels. Solar panels generate electricity without burning fossil fuels, which produce about 21.2 billion tons of carbon dioxide a year. Another way this promotes sustainability is it uses extra unused wall space, which minimizes the space that is wasted in the building, which is very important in big cities like New York. A person in my group had another idea, which was to put kinetic plates under the field, seat, stand, stairs, and parking lot. Kinetic plates are plates that are put under or above ground and produce energy when weight or movement are put on them. Our kinetic plates will produce energy when players run across the field or when the crowd jumps up and down cheering. They also do not use fossil fuels, which are not only contributing to global warming, but will eventually run out. We also learned about a giant marble sphere designed by Andre Brussel that is filled with liquid and has a computerized system that tracks the sun and moon and turns the energy they produce into electricity. As well as the other features in my building, this feature produces electricity without harming the earth, solving one of the world's worst environmental issues. The only problem with these features are they're all very costly, but are feasible to build because the costs will be made back when we save energy because we don't pay for fuel. And they will never run out, and we will always be able to use them. In conclusion, the stadium that we built is sustainable and addresses the environmental issues of a growing urban population. My name is Tatyana, and I'm in 6th grade, and our module for this year is how can students come up with a sustainable building to address the environmental issues of a growing population. We each got split up into different building groups and different specialty groups. My building was movie theater, and my specialty was materials. As materials, I got to choose which materials got to go in our building. One of the ideas I had was to put a sensor in our building, and when the sun is out, it triggers the LED lights off. But when the sun isn't out, it triggers the LED lights on. LED lights last up to 100,000 hours. That's 11 years continuous operations. This is important because when you waste light bulbs, they wind up going into landfills. And landfills are a system of trash and garbage waste that is buried between the layers of the earth. While using LED lights, you're using 80% electrical energy, and the 20% is lost as heat energy. But for incandescent bulbs, that's the opposite, and you're not wasting energy. Another idea we had was to use low-E windows. Low-E glass is thin, transparent layers of metal oxide applied to the glass surface. Low-E glass also has argon gas in it. Argon gas is a colorless, odorless gas found in our atmosphere. By replacing the air inside of the low-E windows with argon gas, it helps insulate better. This is important because it prevents the heat from escaping the building. 4 house fires have been caused by the reflection of low-E windows, but there are solutions. The solutions are planting bushes or trees to shade from the window's strong reflection, or using awnings or shades. Another idea we had was to use a rainwater catchment system. When using a rainwater catchment system, the water makes no contact with the ground, therefore eliminating pesticides, herbicides, iron, calcium, magnesium, and other heavy metals. Herbicides are a chemical agent that destroys plants or inhibits their growth. Pesticides are a chemical agent used to kill pests like rodents or insects. When not using a rainwater catchment system, you have all these chemicals in your water. This also helps for not prematurely replacing water heaters, dishwashers, ice makers, and plumbing fixtures due to erosion. Our building has 1 floor, and the rainwater catchment system has tubes coming out. Our environmental issue is using too much energy and not using it wisely. But in our building, we put kinetic plates in the ramps and chairs, creating energy that they are using. Thank you.